So I'm in an investment stage right now. I'm in the stage of being an artist where you have to spend money before you make any money. Woo! Okay. The universe be universing today. Welcome to another video. I don't know, honestly, it feels weird to have that form of an intro right now. This is really going to be a little bit more of an informal sit down, talk with me. I probably should have made some tea. Honestly, that sounds great. Give me a second. I'm gonna make some tea. I'm back. Not that. Don't do that. Come back. So I'm gonna use my favorite little teacup. Oh my gosh, I decided I'm gonna make a little short that shows my teacup collection because I love teacups. I don't have that many. I probably have about 10. People think that I have a lot more than I actually do, but it's one of my favorite little things to do to just like get myself in a good mood. And then I'm gonna use this Harney & Sons organic Moroccan mint. It's really, really good. It's a green tea. So we've got that pink teacup, and then when this finally comes to the bottom, I'll put a little bit of agave in to sweeten that up. Okay, now I'll put this off to the side now that I've shown that to you. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a little bit less of a formal video. Not that my other videos are really that formal. I just mean that I'm going to be sitting down talking. We're going to see what comes out. Funny enough, had thought about this video concept last night and I was like, oh, that would be a great thing to talk about. And then I woke up this morning and was like, oh, okay, these are the circumstances that I am waking up to. Great. Let's go ahead then and make that video right now because I feel like that's what I meant to do. And honestly, I am very excited to kind of share my emotional process of what I'm kind of going through right now. This is different. This is definitely a little bit of a shift for me. So what I wanted to talk about was prioritizing energy, especially in the context of being an artist, and especially in the context of working through things financially. We all know the whole starving artist stereotype, and it's an unfortunate reality for most of us, at least at some point. And I'm definitely not starving in this actual literal sense of like not being able to get food. I will say that that is something that I have the utmost prioritization of, is making sure that I get healthy, good quality food. I'm not somebody who's gonna just go and shop for the least expensive food that I can possibly find. And at the same time, I'm not by any means going to fancy restaurants all the time and being like, take my money, give me the bougie experience or whatever. When I left my 9-to-5, really set the intention of making sure that I could come home and cook a lot of my meals. It was something that I really missed. And I was looking at things in terms of time, energy, and money and realizing, wow, when I have this busy of a lifestyle, I'm a lot less likely to actually go home and cook. And then that means that the food that I'm eating is usually a lot less healthy, maybe especially as a vegan. Maybe it's not any different. But I'm just saying my options are limited if I'm going to go out and eat. So it usually means that it's going to be more expensive and it's still not actually healthy a lot of the time. I guess to just kind of give a little summary of what happened this morning so that way we can further descend into the rabbit hole. Last night I was thinking about, I was ready to tell about this morning and then jumps to last night. ADHD is so real. So yeah, last night I was thinking about this concept of conserving energy as an artist. I was thinking about all of these different projects that I have. I was trying to prioritize in my mind because the last few nights I've had so much trouble sleeping, so much trouble because my brain has been so awake with excitement, with just pure gratitude of a lot of amazing experiences that I had this whole past month with performing with friends. The absolute abundance that I've been experiencing in life has been awesome. So I was still just on a high from that, like, wow, that was fun. This was fun. This is going to be great. And then thinking about all of the burlesque dances that I want to do for this whole season and putting the pressure on myself to think about it all right now for the entire year, like thinking about my music. Oh my gosh, when am I going to release my EP? Oh my gosh, I have to come up with a costume for the album cover for my EP. Oh my gosh, I have to go, like, everything. And a lot of those things are things that I'm like, yes, the burlesque stuff, I'm committed to. That's going to happen. My EP, I am committed to. That is going to happen. But then, of course, my mind starts thinking about like all the equipment that I need and stuff. And I'm like, I don't have the budget for this. So then that brings me into how can I make the money in order to be able to get these things going? I immediately start thinking about, well, I have these materials and these materials. I can make a painting with this and sell it. Ooh, this can also be a great video idea. I can, like, it goes on and on and on. And I had to take a moment to stop and breathe and remind myself that I've been in this pattern, in this cycle before. And I'm going to guess that a lot of people viewing this can very much relate. I don't think that this is a unique experience. This is a very common experience, like I said, as an artist, but then also just living in a capitalist culture that is so heavily focused on productivity and consumerism. I just kind of think that this is a side effect, and this is just something that people experience living in this kind of reality. And that is the idea of how do you prioritize your time and your energy? Because guess what? Money comes and goes, but your time, you don't get that back. Once you've spent it, it is spent. Your energy, it can fluctuate a little bit as well. And at the same time, there comes a point where you can reach burnout, as I have many times in the past. And then the amount of energy that it takes to get back and the amount of time that it takes to get back on that trajectory, that can vary depending on person to person, depending on, you know, your chapter of life. When I was in college, honestly, even in high school, but especially when I was in college, when I would get to the end of the semester, would have a mental breakdown. I would have panic attacks. I couldn't handle it because I was so used to being productive. I was so used to showing up for so many things. Came to the end of the semester and I had free time. I didn't know what to do with it. I'm not allowed to not be productive. I'm not allowed. I have to keep going. If I want to make my dreams happen, if I want to, and the funny thing is, like, my dreams have changed 10 times within that time. I'm usually still on the trajectory of performance and music on some route. Making this channel has honestly, it's been so necessary for me because I really try to view it as my playground. And I've kind of been afraid to make videos like this because I don't want to get into this space of emotional exploitation within myself. And I'm realizing now, I'm like, oh, you know what? Part of this is not even what kind of feedback you get. There are going to be, I'm sure, plenty of people who are going to come be little trolls and say mean, nasty, disgusting things. And then, you know, there will be sweet, beautiful, angelic angels. Let's get better adjectives for your nouns. Yeah. I can't control the feedback that's coming in and out, but I can take a moment to maybe analyze how I initially receive and then decide to make choices on how I might, you know, flip things within the narrative a little bit in my own head, my own reality, so that way I can receive in a way that feels most in alignment for myself. And so that is my challenge to myself with making this video. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm just talking all over the place. Whatever. Hopefully I'll be able to make it make sense in editing. I'm struggling. Talking about financial stuff is definitely something that I'm still trying to heal, and this is why I'm challenging myself to make this video. We're going to talk about more of the spiritual woo-woo healing stuff in a second, but just to give you a little bit of context of where I was when I woke up this morning, I previously have been making a little bit under $1,000. I'd say within the past 2, maybe 3 months, I've just started making slightly over $1,000 a month. Now, I have also been trying to put some of that money into my savings as I've been going, because I'm like, all right, like I'd like to eventually move. I would like to eventually be able to also afford the equipment that I need in order to be able to make some of these things happen. I wake up this morning, I got paid, I had $569 in my savings, and I was like, woohoo, I'm gonna put a few hundred in my savings right now. This is gonna be fantastic. Maybe I'll even put like 500 in my savings, and then we'll have like a good, solid 1,000. I have one other check from a gig that's like $200. I haven't cashed in yet. Let me, calculating all of that. And I'm like, okay, but I also have to go. I have to pay for burlesque rehearsals. Yes, we do have to pay. I do get paid after the shows, but it's not a lot. It is not the same amount as you pay for the class. And it also does not cover the amount that you end up paying for the costume. So I like to call it a partial costume reimbursement when I get paid for burlesque. I'm trusting that it's all going to add up to something at some point. In the meantime, though, it is costing me a lot more than I am actually getting back for it. I'm not monetized on here, okay? Like, not yet anyway. On YouTube, I mean. I occasionally get paid to go do singing gigs or whatever, but I really haven't even been seeking those out. Like, I'm trying to invest in trying to make my own music happen. So I'm in an investment stage right now. I'm in the stage of being an artist where you have to spend money before you make any money. I go to pay for my burlesque class. I end up messing that up for a second, and it gets all situated. Here I am thinking, okay, wow, that was stressful. I had gotten sponsored for this upcoming show. It's a thing of communication. I honestly probably could have talked about my financial situation, communicated and explained, hey, I am still really struggling. I appreciated the sponsorship. Is it possible to be sponsored again? But in my mind, I'm like, no, but like, you're going to do this solo, and you're maybe going to do this other group choreo. And like, if you're going to do that and you don't have the time to actually volunteer and pay back and give back to the studio in the way that's expected of you, nobody's putting these expectations on me. It's all me. It's an internal thing, right? This is the process that I'm going through. At a certain point, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to pay for the class. I'll pay for it this time. If next time I need financial help, I will make that decision as it comes. Great. Felt good about that. Honestly, still truly feel good about it. My dues are paid. It is set up. I am good. Now, next on the list, I still had a medical bill from when I broke my arm in April. Thankfully, at that time, I had been able to get access, and so most of my stuff ended up getting covered. We're talking, it would have cost me thousands of dollars. The universe had my back, okay? There's no reason not to trust at this point. Well, I go to try to log in online. It doesn't work. I'm like, okay, let me just call. I go to call them and I'm like, hello, I would like to make a payment. Can I just put in $100 today? The man on the phone says, if you do not pay for this now, it's going to go to collections. What do you mean? I've been making payments. Yeah, okay, well, you didn't ask for a payment plan, and had you asked for a payment plan before, maybe we could have done something for you, but you've had this much due since April. I guess I don't want this to be a stressful thing for me anymore, so let me just pay for it in full today. How much do I owe? $569. I look in my bank account and I briefly think about how hard I've been trying to recoup my savings and make it work. And I have $569 in my savings account. The exact amount that I need for that medical bill. The exact amount. The exact dollar amount. I look at those numbers and I think to myself, okay, this is an opportunity to trust. This is an opportunity to not worry about the medical bill anymore, have it be paid, have that be something that is checked off of my list. It's done. My debt is done. I have the money. I can't say that I don't have the money. I've been saying things like I don't have the money because I have different priorities. I have this moment where I'm like, wow, okay, I'm kind of impressed with myself, honestly, that I'm able to sit here and choose to trust in this moment, because in the past, that would have sent me off the rails. I would have been so freaked out. I would not have been able to handle that information. Instead, I chose to look at those numbers and I'm like, that's not coincidence that these are exact matching. $569 medical bill, $569 in my savings account. It cancels out. And I think the biggest thing that I want to talk about now, to get a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more woo-woo, for those of you who are really into manifestation, some of the stuff might not seem super extreme or surprising to you. You're like, yep, this is exactly how it works. I don't know, maybe I can talk about manifestation more in another video. I have my thoughts. I've got some qualms. I think there are some great things. Then there are other times where I think that it can be an excuse for control. It can be an excuse to put a lot of blame or pity on other people when you're observing from the outside. I mean, you should be focused on yourself and your own journey anyway, your own healing anyway, right? But I do resonate with the idea that maybe not everything happens for a reason, but whether or not it does, I still think that we can always choose to find purpose in certain events that happen within our lives. What I am kind of realizing through all of this, to get more into the spiritual aspects of why I think this is coming into my life right now, is that, as I've mentioned multiple times already, this is an opportunity for me to reprioritize, right? Time and energy are scarce. It can be very easy for me to decide, oh, I'm going to spend it doing all of these things. If you're an artist, I'm sure you've had the whole thing come up where as soon as you show somebody something, they're automatically saying, wow, this is so amazing, and this is how you can monetize off of it. You should start an Etsy shop. You should sell it here. You should da-da-da-da-da. The you should thing. Ooh, I have had to work so hard to get that out of my space. I'm having to kind of like reel it in a little bit. When people say that, I have to stop myself for a moment and be like, don't get triggered, don't get annoyed, don't be upset with this person. They're well-meaning, they're well-intentioned, they're trying to be supportive right now. They appreciate your art. They see that brings you joy. They know that you personally are somebody who actually does want to monetize off of your art, right? Like, I am somebody who does want to monetize off of my art. There are a lot of other artists out there who are like, no, don't want to get involved with that. I need that to stay a hobby. Yeah, I had this moment last night where I was thinking about all of these projects and I was like, what do we actually want to prioritize? If I had limited time, if I had limited energy, where would I want to spend it? And that's an interesting question, because at the same time, how do I trust that the things that I'm putting my time and energy into are actually going to reap the financial reward, the financial benefit? Because I do need some of that in order to be able to keep going. And it's one of those things that I just don't think there is necessarily a black and white answer for. I don't know, money is like so material. So I feel like it's a very common thing for people to come to it from this space of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna compartmentalize. This is something that is practical because it's tangible, even though it technically isn't most of the time when we use it nowadays anyway. We're using a card, we're using numbers or whatever, right? Like, but we don't actually think about the fact, unless you're part of the manifestation community, we don't actually think about the fact that money is just another form of energy. It is an energetic exchange. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, what? Like, I need to sit with that for like a second. Speaking of which, I'm like, I haven't had a single little sip of my tea. Yeah, the first time I heard that, I was like, excuse me, just, oh, okay. If money is energy, that is a very interesting concept. It's so transformative when you're able to look at things from that perspective, because it forces you to get really honest about where you might be spending your energy and why you might be spending your energy in that way. Yeah, I saw myself kind of facing those crossroads this morning of I could get into a scarcity mindset. That would be a really great way to put up a wall to decide, ooh, communication is scary, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to convince myself that I have to be the person that solves all of my problems completely independently. BS, no, we're not meant to walk this world alone. So, if that's true, then figure out the ways in which I can receive, figure out the ways in which I can ask for help from others, and figure out which ways I can do that for myself. How can I reprioritize my time? How can I decide which projects are actually worth putting out there? Even if that means that right now I'm trying to post weekly on YouTube. I've had a couple of days break from the gig that's making me the most money right now, which film edit. I'm doing this all through the holidays. I'm putting my nose to the grindstone right now because I'm motivated and because I want to, because genuinely I'm excited about it. But maybe that means at some point I'm not going to be posting every week. That's okay. And I don't want to use this as a way to avoid and put off what I really want to do, which is releasing my original music. That is my utmost priority. And I say that, and I haven't actually necessarily been putting all of the action in practice. And I think part of that is because I've needed a little bit of a break. I've needed to be in a little bit of a lighter space. And I'm kind of nervous anticipating what that's going to be like. I mean, I did already release one single, Save Your Breath. You can follow me, Alexandra Loon, if you want to follow my original music. But I am a little bit nervous to kind of show the world more of my stuff, because it is really vulnerable. And I think that people are going to be a little bit surprised. I mean, even with this single, which is not nearly as raw as it gets, it was very, very tame compared to a lot of the stuff that I've written. I had a couple of people in my life be like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. You sounded really different. I'm so used to hearing you sing opera. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I don't write opera. This is what I wrote. My other stuff is just so much more raw. It's so much more emotional. And I think people are used to seeing me put on this happy face, which is not fake. I genuinely just am a very peppy, excited person a lot of the time. But I also have that other extreme side of oh, I can get real dark. I don't know that people are going to be prepared for that. I think they're going to be like, wait, this is the same girl, this girl who is doing this fun little burlesque act and is just woo! And, singing opera and all this stuff is the same one who wrote that. That doesn't add up. It doesn't add up in my brain sometimes. And at the same time, maybe that is something that I'm meant to bring to the world. Maybe this is, I don't know, unique to the era that we live in, where you can curate so many things and everybody's so focused on how you brand yourself. And we have this virtual reality, right? Where you can essentially just create your own little avatar of yourself. And it's what is real? What is real? When we value the person that we are on the internet more than we value the person that we are just walking through life. I am really, really excited for the EP that's going to come out this year. I'm putting it out there. I'm saying it. It's going to happen this year. I'm almost finished writing it, I think. I say that, and then also it's like, oh, well, maybe some other songs will come up and surprise me. I have the concept. I have at least 2 songs written. No, 3. I think I have 3 written. And I think it's probably only going to be 4 songs because my songs tend to be a good like 5 minutes on average, I'm going to say. That is the thing that I want to prioritize. That is the thing that I'm most excited to share with the world. And I think that I've needed to do more of the burlesque stuff because it has helped me get a lot more comfortable being in this sensual place with just performing in general. I mean, with like being a dancer with my body, like there's so many things that burlesque has helped me with. And I'm like, I could make a whole nother video on that alone. I've really been needing to reconnect with my opera because I've got a lot of creative scars specifically around opera, and I'm very excited that I'm going to be bringing both of those 2 together, opera and burlesque. I'll be talking about that more again in another video. My music is the most authentic thing that I've created in my, I'm gonna say in my opinion. I'm like, it doesn't matter, like, it's my opinion or anybody else's opinion. I'm I know it is, because anybody who says otherwise is just placing a projection or judgment. I am me. I'm the only one who can actually decide that. It is. It is the most authentic thing that I have created. It is the most real representation of who I am as a person. My album especially. And realistically, my album is not going to come out this year. Maybe I'm going to put into the universe that by the end of the year, I've met my musical team. I have maybe moved to New York or a city where I can have all of the equipment, the funding, the resources that I need, that are necessary in order to be able to actually make that a reality. I am really sitting here and I'm asking myself, why am I still in this financial bind? What is it that I'm not being honest about, that I can start to be more honest about with myself? What is the excuse? What am I trying to hold myself back from? What is the wall that I'm creating that is putting me in this space where I'm still struggling financially? Am I afraid of the responsibility? Am I afraid of showing my most authentic self? Do I feel like I need to create this avatar in order to keep myself safe? Ooh, people like this girl. Yeah, she's peppy, she's fun, she is confident, she does all of these things. Look at how talented she is. Jack of all trades, master of art. That's great. But what is the real intention? Because if this truly is just a playground for me, then that's what it needs to be. That's what it needs to stay as. And that's okay. I can have this channel kind of be the thing for me. And I do think that videos like this will be, happening periodically. And I imagine this being helpful and healing to others who are watching videos specifically like this. But I'm getting chills. I'm about to tear up just saying this out loud. I really feel like when I do get to the point of releasing my music, that's what I'm most meant to do. And I think maybe I'm afraid of it because, I really needed it. When I first wrote my first song as an adult, the one that ended up bleeding into the album, it came from a heartbreak. And I had gone through every song on my venting list. We all have that fun little heartbreak playlist, right? I had gone through every song that I usually would go to, and it didn't hit what I needed. And so I ended up having to write the song that I needed in order to be able to console myself. And I'm not crying because of that heartbreak. I'm crying because of the beautiful gift that I've been able to give myself through writing. And I think that maybe I haven't specifically been ready to release that album because I've deep down still needed it. And so I'm gonna start with other things first. I started with a song that I had very low investment in, and I still ended up liking it throughout the process. I'm really glad that I started with that because I ended up having quite a few issues with trying to get it through the distribution company and getting that up. And apparently in order to have certain things set up with your artist profile and everything, you need to release a certain amount of singles and stuff. And so already in my mind, I'm like, okay, what other singles can I just put out there to put something out there so that way I can get these things established. So that way, by the time I get my EP out there, something that I really care about, I have everything set up and it can have the true release that I believe that it deserves. And same thing with the album. And in the meantime, I'm protecting it because it means a lot to me. I think that I've been trying to find other avenues to monetize off of because I'm not willing to put that out there just for the sake of putting it out there. Like my YouTube channel, I'm like, whatever happens with this. Burlesque, I'm like, it's fun, but whatever happens with that. Opera, I already thought that I was going to be a professional opera singer, and like if I worked really hard, I'm sure that I probably could be somebody who goes and sings at the Met and stuff like that. I just don't put enough energy into it to specifically be doing that right now. I probably could take that avenue if I wanted to, but that is not what I believe I'm meant to do. I believe that I'm meant to share my music, and when I do, I don't want it to be about me. You know, like I have a lot of fun playing like the main character when I go into a piano bar, when I go and do karaoke, when I'm on stage doing a burlesque number. I have a lot of fun being in that space. But when I release my music, I want it to be a gift. You know, I have my separate YouTube channel even just for my music because I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be like, I'll share that stuff here on this channel, right? I'll share my part of it here on this channel, and for those who are interested, they can come, they can experience that. For others who just simply need somebody to facilitate that space and be able to show up vulnerably just in the space with that little container with the music, I want them to have that. I want them to have the luxury of not knowing anything about me, like, and to be able to focus on themselves. I wasn't expecting to get emotional in this video, I will tell you that. Okay, cool. Nice little therapy session for myself. It's like if I was questioning before this morning what I was holding back on, that's it. That's it right there. I am putting pressure on myself financially to figure out things with everything else and putting my music on the back burner right now because I'm like, no, we have to keep you protected. All of this, I'm like, I care, but I don't care nearly as much. Like this is the space that I'm protecting. Here, I'm willing to take the risks. I'm willing to put in a lot of energy because the stakes just simply are not as high. That's kind of going to be my challenge for you as well. Like, what is it in your life right now that, whether you want to put it in the framework of you're making excuses, or whether you like, and sometimes it's not even that. Like sometimes it is about like being gentle with yourself and realizing that it simply isn't the season to do that, right? Like I think there's so much luxury in being in that space where nobody knows who you are. You're able to just have that privacy, right? Like if I had shown any of my music to anybody before I was ready to do so, I wouldn't have been able to benefit from having it be for me. There's nothing like having that one moment before I've shown anybody. I've just written it and I'm the only person in the entire world who has ever heard it before. I live for that. I truly like, best way to self-love for me personally. But when I do release stuff, I want it to be for other people and I have to be ready for that. And so there are some songs that I'm like, they need to be for me just a little bit longer and that's okay. Also, I'm really excited for the day that it no longer is for me and I get to share that. And then, you know, I'll just fill in that space with writing more songs that I need to hold on to for a while before I decide to release those, and we'll just keep that cycle going. That sounds amazing to me. But yeah, just remember that if you are in a little bit of a winter season for yourself, that's okay, that there are so many rewards to reap from that phase. Don't overlook that. You can have that privacy, create that space for yourself, get really clear on your intention. I wouldn't have as clear of an intention as I do with my music. I wouldn't be tearing up in the way that I just did thinking about the music that I've written if I didn't have that phase, if I didn't really honor it. And I'm so glad that I did, because there are so many seasons in my life, like before that, where I wouldn't have allowed myself that space. I would have been like, oh, starving artist, don't want to be starving artist, gotta make it happen. Slow down. As cliche as it is, it's about the journey. It is happening right now. I was just telling my friend like the other day, I'm like, it's happening right now. I don't have the money right now, but I am living a life of art. This is what I've always wanted, is to live a life of art. The amount of different projects that I've just been involved in just in this past month alone is just, like I said, the true form of abundance. I've experienced so much connection. I've experienced so much, just a deeper level of being able to get to know myself. Just pure fun. Fun for fun's sake. And I welcome so many more of those projects into my space this coming year. I think that's where I'm gonna go ahead and leave this. I'm sure this video is super long already, even after me editing it, but I just know that if I am keeping it this long, if it's like a full podcast, it's because I just really feel strongly about what it is that I'm sharing today. And I'm definitely more than willing to make more videos like this in the future as inspiration comes. Also, like, definitely, please, like, feel free to leave me some love, some comments, because I don't usually have people commenting on any of my videos. I have some people sometimes will give it a like, which I also like appreciate, but I really did kind of, I do want to be monetized on here. I'm going to be candid about that. And at the same time, like, specifically coming to YouTube is something that is a space where I just really wanted to be able to have that connection and community. I will respond. I'll be very excited. Thank you so much if you have decided to stick through this video and watch this. Wow, I feel such a lightness right now, and I'm really excited to see what's next. I'll see you in the next video.